Hi, my name is Eileen Tran. You can see I'm not white, and from my accent, you can tell I'm not a native speaker. Indeed, I'm a first generation immigrant. I came here when I was 18, and at that time, I didn't speak any English. I learned English in the US since 18. Um, and why I do this uh, live stream? Because I heard Joe Biden say that there's systemic racism in the US. And I guess the best way to say it is to use survey, use scientific research and survey. But there's enough scientific research and survey to say that such a thing is not there. But a lot of people complain that they feel racist, they feel discriminated against them. They have a personal experience, they have personal account. Um, and a lot of people who go on protests recently, and they join the riot and the looting and be very vocal about the fact that they have, despite the survey, the scientific, the law, saying that there's no systemic racism in the US, but they do personally feel, excuse me, they do personally feel discriminated against them because of their color of skin. Um, so I thought about it all this time. I mean, I should have done this video right after Joe Biden say that, but why didn't I do that? I guess because inferior. I feel inferior. I have to admit I do feel inferior um, because who am I? English is my second language. I don't even speak the language fluently 100%. I'm pretty fluent, but not as good as a native speaker. And, uh, and my skin is not white. But guess what? I realized that even I have to gather all my gut to do this live stream because I think it's important for me to raise my voice because the truth is I did feel discriminated against me. I did feel racism in the US when I first came. The truth is when I was in Vietnam, I read the book called The Root, talking about Kutakunte, who is it the right name? Something like that. But he was in in Africa, and he was kidnapped and brought to America and become a slave. And the way he was treated was really brutal. You know, the last escape he tried and failed. Um, the his master chopped his foot, uh, and I came to America with the bias that there is racism in America. And I came here and I feel it. I felt it for a long time. I feel like an outcast. For a long time, I always feel inferior uh, when I face American, when I have to deal with native speaker, when I have to deal with white people. But oh, I know, I have to tell you, after that many years I live here, and after I complete my education, and after I have a length of professional experience here, and now I have property, and I can afford a nice vacation and nice house, and I can travel the world, and I get to live abroad for some times. I look back and I can see actually the reason that I felt racism back then It's because of my lack of self-esteem. It's my lack of confidence. Of course, when I first came here, I spoke no English. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the culture. I didn't know the law system. I didn't know anything. Vietnam in the 80s, after the fall of Saigon in 1935, 75, the communist government in Vietnam destroyed the prosperity that the South Vietnamese used to enjoy. So when I grew up, there's nothing there. There's not even a flush toilet. There's not even escalator. There's no elevator. And we rarely have electricity. Most of the night, we don't have electricity. And so when I came here, can you believe it? I didn't even know how to flush the toilet. And somebody has to show me. Of course, after just one time they show me, I know how to use it. But before somebody showed me how to flush the toilet, I didn't know how. So, given that, obviously, you see, the reason that I felt discriminated back then, now I knew, is because of my lack of confidence, my lack of self esteem. And the lack of confidence and self esteem, lack of confidence come from where? Because I didn't speak the language, I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the information, I didn't have the degree, I didn't have the money. And that made me feel so less, so powerless, and so much less than people around me. And because of that intimidacy, I I always feel inferior toward people around me, and because of that, whenever I always feel so self-conscious. I always nervous that oh, why didn't they talk to me louder? Oh, why did they look at me? Oh, why they look at me so long? Oh, why they stay away from me? Why they walk away? I always make all kind of questions like that. And and then I ask people who lived here for a long time those questions, and those people answer me, oh, because that's racism, because you are people of color, so white people stay away from you. And and I I I take I take I swallow their answer whole. I didn't even, back then I first came to America with the education system of the dictatorial communism in Vietnam. They didn't teach us critical thinking. They didn't teach us how to dissect a situation, how to analyze, certain the way people talk, the way people. We didn't know how to compare, to be honest. So when people say, "Oh, that's discrimination," I take it whole. I swallow it. I didn't even chew it. I didn't even pick and choose. But then, but I have to admit that inferior is still with me now. Yeah, I admit that. That's why I want to do this live stream for a long time, for a whole month now, and I couldn't bring up myself to do it. And today I tell myself that if I don't do it, I can never win over my past. The truth is, now I have friends in the neighborhood. I have who is white. I have friend who used to work with me at Morgan Stanley, who's also white, and I have and college friends and co-worker and neighbors. They all white, but they treat me really nice. The other day, I was in front of my house and I water my lawn, and a lady passed by and she say hi to me first. I didn't say hi to her first. She say hi. She said hi to me first, and we had a good conversation, and then she invited me over to her house, and she showed me her flowers. She showed me her backyard. She showed me, um, and she walked me through her house and showed me all little things with the memories that carries with, that connected to that articles, that little things, you know. And my friend in New York, he's also white. He texts me every now and then, and our friendship is like uh, 20 years now. My friend, if you truly feel discriminated, I invite you to look back. Is it really discriminated or your inferior complex? If you feel discriminated, take a look closer. Is it really discrimination? Or is it because of your lack of self-confidence or lack of self-esteem? And it's not your fault. The reason we don't have self-esteem, it could be because of our childhood. And it could be because in your childhood, there's, we were bullied or we were criticized harshly by people around. A lot of that criticism was meant to make us stronger, was meant to make us to be more focused in school or to be better behaved. It's meant to make us a better person, but unfortunately, those severe criticism in childhood would lead us um, to low self-esteem, and that low self-esteem would make us feel inferior, and we conveniently blame racism. Like me, I'd like to invite you to look closely every time you feel discriminated by white people. Is it really discrimination? Or it's just our own interpretation because of our lack of self-esteem, because of our lack of confidence, or because we feel less, or because we have a habit of comparing ourselves with people around. We have a habit of thinking in the same manner of grass in the neighbor is always greener. Honestly, my friend, after that many years living in the U.S., after uh, moving up the social ladder from sweatshop with illegal worker to assembly line to college and then to professional employment, I was confident that my experience with the so-called racism in the US back then, in my personal particular case, it was just lack of confidence, just lack of self-esteem. I'm not saying that you're going to be me, and you're going to be like me. I'm not saying that I'm a representative of all people coming from America uh, that is not white. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that I invite you to have a second look at your feeling of being discriminated against by white people. And if it's and trying to find a different way to interpret the situation, trying to have a different vantage point, trying to look at this issue from a different angle. And also remember, of course there are people who don't like you. Of course. We always have someone who don't like us. And it happened to be white. That's not discrimination. Or if there is discrimination in the US, maybe there is, but that's individual cases. It's not systemic. It's not systemic. Because if it's systemic, my friend, a person like me can never have a college degree. A person like me can never have a master's degree. A person like me can never step into a big corporation like Morgan Stanley. You know, my English is still not 100% perfect. I mean, it's still pretty good. It's very good. I'm not saying that my English is bad, but it's definitely not 100%. It's probably above 90%, but it's not 100%. But I get to have the experience that any American can have. This land really is a land of opportunity. This land really is a land for the people who are willing to work hard and earn what they deserve. I invite you to look closely at your personal experience and free yourself from that thinking. If you think you are discriminated, then you always feel uncomfortable. You always feel like a victim, and and that's sad. That means we victimize ourselves. Free us. free yourself. Look at the problem closely in a different way. I hope you find that you're not a target. I hope you find that systemic racism is not upon your head. You have a free life here in America. Thank you for watching this video, and if you think it's valuable, please spread around so that people can share, who resonate with what I say, can raise their voice, can share their opinion. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.